Hey, I'm Jen McIntyre and I have been homeschooling my 6 kids for about 8 years. I absolutely love it and I want to talk about something that makes such a huge difference in the homeschooling experience, which is the morning schedule. The morning schedule is kind of that make or break thing when it comes to the homeschooling day. You can have so many things go wrong in the afternoon and really bounce back from it, but your morning needs to be where most of the learning happens in order for it to go right and be effective. When it comes to the morning routine, it seems like pretty much everything wants to make sure that you cannot start the day. You've got your phone, you've got all Facebook and Instagram and everything that grabs your attention, you've got chores that maybe didn't get done, you've got things that you feel like you ought to be doing to help your neighbor. You have so many things that are pulling on you and trying to keep you from making homeschool a priority. The morning routine is where you say, no, this is what we're doing. This time of high energy and focus is what we're going to set aside for school. And so it is very important to be able to have this time and this routine that really puts a period in it and says, we're done with getting ready. Now we're going to actually start learning. So we use a block schedule system for our day, which is just setting aside this chunk of time and saying we're going to accomplish these basic things inside this block. You have your get ready block from about 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and that's waking up and getting ready for the day and eating breakfast and scripture study and all of that stuff. And then we have our second block, which is our morning learning block. That's the block I want to talk about today. We start with an opener. The opener is where everybody stops what they're doing and we officially begin learning time. We have 2 silly songs that I wrote to help transition from cleaning to learning. I start singing them and everybody comes running because they want to be there, because these songs are really just goofy songs and they want to be there for that. Music, as I'm sure you're aware, really helps ease transitions between things, and so we do use music a lot for that. Because we are not perfect, a lot of mornings can be a little stressful, and singing also helps calm everybody down and helps them switch into fun gear. So when we are finally all together, we have an opening prayer and a family cheer. There is nothing like yelling something all together to feel really united. Our cheer is 4 words long, but it's super powerful because we say it all together and it's a reminder of what it means to be in our family. At this point, pretty much all disagreements and tension is gone and we're ready to start having fun. And the opener is really all about fun because you want people to want to come, to want to start school. So you want to put all the fun things in the opener. So the next thing we do is we give everybody a chance to be in the personal spotlight. We call this presentations, but there's no poster board or anything. It's not formal. It's just anything that they've learned or done that they want to share with everybody. And we have had things from, hey, this is what I dreamed last night, to I learned this new song on the piano or the guitar or whatever. This morning, my 5-year-old was excited to tell me about the karate tricks that he used, and I still have a bruised knee. So presentations can be literally anything. This is really powerful because it lets the kids know that you're interested in them and you're willing to listen to them before you're going to talk to them or ask anything of them. And this is an important part of parenting in general. It's one of the things that really opens my kids' hearts so that when I ask them to do something later on that they may not love, they're willing to, because I took this time first to connect with them and to show that they are the priority in my life. So after our presentations, we do schedules. I don't know where my schedule is. We all have day timers. And we take about 2 minutes and everybody writes down on their personal calendar what they want to accomplish for the day. My older kids are super clear. They know exactly what they need to do for each subject in each class that they're taking. They know what they have to accomplish. But up until about high school, kids just write down what they're interested in, what they want to pursue. I want to look at sharks or dinosaurs or whatever, and that is perfect. That's exactly what we want to do here because our morning schedule covers all the most important things. So this schedule that they're writing down is for them to pursue their own interests, which is where most of the learning happens. Kids learn best when they're learning things that they are interested in. So having this choice in what they learn and writing it down and then letting everybody know what it is that they've written down, what they're going to accomplish that day. It's about more than just scheduling. It's about giving everybody their own education, letting them own that, and giving them that freedom inside of that. After schedules, we review our goals. Monday mornings, we're gonna set a goal, and everybody sets their individual goals, and they're in one of 4 categories: physical, mental, spiritual, social. And they're very simple goals. I mean, they're like, I want to play with a friend this week, or I really want to read this book this week, or I'm interested in doing X amount of sit-ups and push-ups this week. They're simple goals, things that can be done in a week. And so we write those down on Monday, and then at this point of the opener, we'll just go over Tuesday through Friday. We'll say, how are you doing on this goal? And it is such a great life skill because the kids are able to say, I'm doing really great. I'm making progress on the things that I was interested in. I'm accomplishing what I wanted to do. Or almost equally as often, this is too hard. When I set this goal, I thought it was a good one. It's not, it's too difficult. I need to dial it back. I need to adjust my expectations, or I need to work harder to get this goal accomplished. This is such a huge life skill. I love taking this opportunity to teach my kids how to want something, how to be clear on what you want, and how to move toward it. It only takes, 2 minutes every morning, but it keeps us focused on really knowing what we want in our lives and pressing forward on that. So I do it with my kids. I will write down my goals and I will report every morning. I'm doing great, I'm doing terrible, I need to adjust, whatever. And we just work on it together because this is a lifelong thing. Everybody's constantly working on goals. At this point, the older kids are dismissed and we start the real meat of our morning learning. We use a system that rotates through topics for learning, and it's just called looping. I'm sure you've heard of that, but if you haven't heard of it, I've made another video and I go over how to do looping and how to create your own loops. It's basically a list of subjects you want to cover, and you work your way down that list no matter what the day is. It's flexible and it's super easy to customize, so I love using loops. They are really a lifesaver in homeschooling. I have 2 loops that I use in our morning schedule to make sure that we cover all the things that I think are most important. The first of our loops is called the inspiration loop, and our second loop is called the foundation loop. Our inspiration loop is filled with things that inspire us to get motivated for the day. It also has things that I feel like I really ought to cover, but I'm not going to very often as their own subject. They're not that important, they don't come up that often. I'll put the list down in the description because it's long, but our inspiration loop is geography, artist study, word fun, composer study, character stories, math fun, poetry, science fun, and gardening. I know, it's long, but the thing is, we only spend 15 to 20 minutes on each one of these subjects, and it hits these things that I'm not going to get to unless they're on some sort of a loop, because they're just not something I do every second Tuesday or whatever. And I really feel heroic if at the end of the day we've studied geography. I think I'm an amazing mom and a great homeschooler. So after we do that, we have the little kids run off and go play on their own, because that's where little kids really learn, is through playing a lot. And I keep the middle-aged kids, which is about 8 to 13 or 14 years old, and we start our foundation loop. We have all of 3 subjects on our foundation loop. We almost don't even need to put this in a loop, except we keep getting off, and so I put it on a loop so that we would stop skipping subjects randomly. So this has science, constitution, and history on it. We study one subject every day. We spend about an hour on it, and I use a few different tools. I want to go over those tools really quickly on just the foundation loop. I actually use tools in the inspiration loop too, but that's such a huge long list that I'm going to stick it in my other video. So if you want to know all the resources I use for inspiration, go look at that other list, or that other video. For constitution, where is it? I use this book. I really like this book. It's just called The Declaration of Independence, written by somebody. Written by Thomas Jefferson. But I mean, this book is illustrated and inscribed by Sam Fink. So this book has all of the phrases of the Declaration of Independence, and then kind of a picture and a little description of maybe what's going on with that particular phrase. And because the language in the Declaration of Independence can be a bit much for little kids. So this is really helpful to see what it might mean, what these words might mean, and it helps put a visual in their head so they can understand the Declaration. I know it says Constitution Studies, but the Declaration of Independence, it really outlines the problems that the Constitution answers. So we do these 2 things together. The Constitution itself we'll study this, Promises of the Constitution, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow by Pamela Romney Openshaw. This is awesome because every single one of her sections can be done quite quickly. So even though we're going to spend an hour on Constitution, I will read, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes worth of these stories, this background history of the Constitution, and then I'll move on and we'll do something else to teach Constitution, like intheconstitution.org. And this is a website that is marvelous for teaching kids about the Constitution. It has something called the Constitution Beam, and it has all of these different videos on it teaching, I think it's the 5 different clauses in the Constitution that are most misunderstood and how to understand them, and it helps the kids memorize them and has the background so they know what's going on, how they're misinterpreted, how they were originally intended to be understood. It's really powerful. So intheconstitution.org, love that website. And there's also freedomfactor.org that has some videos that explain the Constitution. So I use those, and I also use these. The Tuttle Twins has a series that they have a lot of different books that follow these 2 twins, and they face a lot of the different problems. They deal a lot with economics, some with Constitution, but my kids absolutely love these, and I don't know really where else to fit in our schedule. So we stick this in with Constitution studies, and they will teach everything from the law, the appropriate use of force and government, to messed up marketplace. This has to do with economics and what happens when the government gets inappropriately involved in the different economical aspects. So it's a really great series. I do really enjoy it. My kids love it. They'll sit down and read it on their own. And the last one is by Jeff Hymas. He's the one who did intheconstitution.org. This is called Founders and Prophets, and this is a quick and easy book that talks about the different principles, the 12 principles of freedom that we can live. And they're really easy. What I love about this book is it's things that we can do today. The first principle is the proper role of government, and it talks about freedom is best preserved when men form government to operate within its proper role in protecting rights. And so that it has stories about that, founding father quotes about that, and then it talks about how we can live it today in our family and in our lives, which I love when things apply to us. So that is what we do for Constitution studies. The other 2 are much easier, much quicker. History, I teach history using stories and discussion. I get most of my stories from librariesofhope.com, all free, all online. You can get all of it. I bought it because I like holding books. I think it's easier to read and understand. So I buy some of her stuff. That's what I use for history. And science, we do Apologia. This is for the elementary kids. This is for older kids, and we'll split our time between those 2. So that's how our foundation loop goes. I'll spend an hour on one of those subjects, pulling from the different resources that I have. Then everybody's exhausted. So we take a break. And after that, the kids will come back and they get their calendars that they've written everything on. They go through those things on their own while I work with the little kids on reading, writing, and math. And then at noon, it's lunchtime, we're done. That's our morning routine. If nothing else happens for the rest of the day, I have completely succeeded at life and in school. And it's marvelous because I feel like the most important things have really been hit. And it also helps because now I have the afternoon to be working on things that I want to pursue in my own education. The morning schedule makes great things happen in our education. It taps into the time of day when we have the highest energy, the most interest in learning. And I really love spending this time with my kids. I really enjoy the morning schedule. It makes me feel like there's enough freedom of learning going on and still also structure, so we're getting everything done. I hope this example of a morning schedule is helpful. Check out my other videos to learn more about the tools that we use to make our homeschooling a great adventure. I'll see you in the next time. Bye.